Forth Rivers Workers Guild is focused on progressive ecological home services in the Pittsburgh region. Primarily right now we are focused on landscape services for homeowners and some organizations, and this is a way for them to integrate their landscapes with the surrounding ecology. People these days are looking for more out of their yards than just to keep up with the Joneses, and they're looking for performance out of their landscape. They're looking for their landscape to represent the values that they see are important in the world around them. They are afraid of what's to come with climate change. They want to make sure that they're having a meaningful relationship with the world around them and are able to connect to that, and their landscapes are a way to do that, and Forth River provides ecological services that enable them to fulfill those values.
The idea of bringing ecological services in the form of, this kind of guise of landscaping and gardening services, which most people have a yard, most people have a front yard or a small backyard, what have you. So everybody has this green space, but things are managed in a way that are not ecologically beneficial. They're not equitable for the neighborhoods. They're not equitable for the species. And Forth River has tried to take that a step further by providing those same landscape services, where people want their front yard to look well. They want it to look taken care of. They want it to look kept. We are able to help a client meet that need of wanting to fit in, if you will. But taking that a step further and being able to do that while also benefiting not just the immediate property owner, but as well as any organism that's going to find its way onto that property. We have communication, we have conversations with the clients, sometimes even with the neighbors, right, when they're out in the yard, and we're able to discuss and talk about what are your actual needs, where are things not being met, where can we adjust the way that we're serving you to be sure that your needs are being met, but also ensuring that we're not impeding on the ecological services that are being provided by this small property, as well as the neighborhood. Can we increase connectivity between neighbors? And by being able to have discussions, we're able to bridge these gaps between property owners and start to talk to multiple property owners. And in doing that, we're able to create a bigger picture of what's actually going on in the environment. So we're not just providing a landscape service. Along with that, we're trying to initiate conversations that kind of break down these barriers. With what we're able to do, we're able to bring that conversation, we're able to cooperate with the environment, with neighbors, multiple stakeholders, and I think kind of cultivate conversation that leads us to being able to provide a better service for this person, even though the end might be very similar to if you were to do it conventionally.
My involvement with cooperatives was a search for style of business that I wanted to be involved in, and I didn't see it readily available, and I moved around. I worked for family-owned businesses, I've worked for small businesses, for nonprofit businesses. There are bits and pieces of each of those that are really good, but definitely left something wanting in terms of how to feel fulfilled on a day-to-day basis, which, as I'm looking out into what I'm going to do with my life, I'd want to work someplace that fulfills me and not have to bounce around constantly. Worker-owned business is founded on really the principles of democracy, which is something that we in our culture hold as very valuable, but we don't have a lot of experience doing that in a day-to-day. It requires some learning, it requires training. We've been able to utilize a decision-making system that helps provide guidance for that process, and that's a system that people are able to receive training on, and so all of our members receive training on decision-making, on the democratic process. They're generally energized coming out of that. They see a lot of potential, they see a lot of impact, and why it's meaningful to understand the dynamics of how decisions get made collectively and how to give way and give space for other people while gaining something from that at the same time.
I think as far as opportunities are concerned, one of the biggest benefits I have found has been that there is a level playing field when it comes to opinion and discussion, as well as decision making everybody has an equal weight. It allows for easier discussion. I'm working to become an owner in the cooperative, and even as such, with Ben being a full owner, there's still this level of understanding and expectation between one another that allows for this open communication, which is really helpful. When we have that kind of criticism, those feedback loops that are always moving forward to always try to iterate something and make it better and make it better, it enables just a space that's really nice to work in. We both kind of know where we would like ourselves as individuals to be, is where we want the company to be, and we can help one another reach that goal through being iterative with one another. That's probably I think is one of the more, I would say, beneficial aspects or components of the business, is having that very open communication that has an understanding of kind of equal weight for opinion. So it leaves room for growth because we have an understanding of where we would like to be, and there's open communication to ensure that we both get there. I was familiar with the idea of cooperatives, and that was definitely something that interested me. You know, I just came on to help out with some projects, and then that evolved into me, oh, I want to be a part of this. With Ben, we had talked and said, hey, there's an opportunity here where what Fourth River had already done as far as, design, build, this idea of participating with environment, like a landscaper, a gardener. That was an interest of mine to want to participate in that trade. And because this was a cooperative, I have the ability, and not just the ability, but really a responsibility to have an understanding and participating in all aspects of a business. And so there's this kind of expectation that you have to become involved in a cooperative that is ensuring that you are aware of how it all works, how everybody's piece works in the greater puzzle. And to me, that's really empowering in doing that kind of work, in knowing how it all works, how it all goes together. How can I refine the service that I'm providing that's going to best align with our own mission, our own values, our own aim of the company. I am actually able to have an opinion that is heard and becomes a part of where we want the company to go. For me, that's been one of the biggest reasons that I really like being with this cooperative, is because I have the power to help myself succeed. We have the power to help one another to succeed. And again, we have this open communication to ensure that we are in fact both doing that for one another.